So I've been trying out the new Xeno threat missions in my Retaliator, and I have to say that they work. At least for me, when I was testing, I have to make that disclaimer. They were working for me, and the rewards were actually not that bad. I mean, I emptied out all the torpedoes in my Retaliator. Some of those torpedoes, like this poor Aurora LN, were maybe a little bit overkill. But the money that the missions rewarded me more than paid for the 21,000 credits it cost me to reload the torpedoes on my ship. So, pretty good. It's a little bit weird when the torpedoes emerge dorsally instead of ventrally on the ship, but I'm sure that's something that's going to be fixed down the road. But one of the things that this kind of got me thinking about is that, you know, when you're trying out firearms in Star Citizen, you know, like guns, rifles, things like this, you can always kind of just get wreck and go into Arena Commander and test these things out. Though it doesn't quite work the way we want it to. There can be lag, there can be issues, so you don't really have I would say a fully responsive and fully accurate version of how that weapon's going to perform once the game is more or less dialed in. And thinking about that, I was like, why don't we just have some shooting ranges, like as a single player addition to Arena Commander? You know, you could just stage it, you know, just a little chunk of the surface of, you know, Microtech somewhere in the woods. You can just have these little pop-up things that pop up and players can just go and pick guns up off a shelf and just try them out with different editions. It could just be like a little closed single player version of Star Citizen that just comes with the game client that lets you test guns out and just lets you test out various add-ons. And when I was thinking about this kind of led me to the idea of why not go a step further, and beyond Arena Commander, why don't we have like a ship and weapon test range? You know, let's say story-wise it's set somewhere above Hurston, but it functions much like Dying Star or Broken Moon function in Star Citizen right now, except it's kind of a local client. It's not something that's dependent on server performance, and players can just hop into a ship and they can set up a different ship at the other end of the range, and they can just go and they can fire missiles or torpedoes at it to their heart's content. They can just test out various ideas, and it can be based off of the ships as they are in the live client. This would be something that would be attached to the live client, so you could always get an accurate picture of this weapon hits for this much damage and this weapon does, you know, this and that. Because one of the things that Star Citizen doesn't have is there aren't numbers popping off of the enemies when you shoot them, whether it's ships or people. And of course that's a very good thing, because it's extremely immersion breaking, like dorsal torpedoes. My god, that triggers me so much. But it would be very immersion breaking, and Star Citizen would be entirely the worse for it if, you know, you would get these numbers there. It would look a little too World of Warcraft or cyberpunky, and I don't think that would be really good for the immersive experience that you're trying to create. But I think that we could benefit from having like a missile or a gun test firing range for ships that maybe it doesn't give us a distinct, like this, you know, this armor has, you know, X amount of hit points and this amount of damage modifier, so you'll need this to work or that to work. Not something, but something that allows us to get a feel for how dangerous these weapons are in the current build of the game. You know, like this could all be reflected once again from the ships and the guns and the missiles and the body armor that is currently in the live client. I think that would be a pretty good idea to have something like that in Star Citizen. I mean, you know, we're always talking about big features like theaters of war or something like that, and then, you know, they kind of disappear and are not talking about again because those people have probably been reassigned to something else, and then they don't have the time to work on it anymore. So, you know, what was, all lit up and in a marquee, you know, a year ago is now just like, oh yeah, that thing. We'll get around to it someday. But just something simple like this, something very entry level that allows us to kind of test out some of these concepts and ideas would be pretty cool. So let's say that I wanted to test out the torpedoes on my Retaliator against an Idris. Well, here you are. It's the perfect situation. Well, not exactly, because there are multiple players who are attacking this Idris right now. So I can't really look at this and say, oh, okay, you know what, this is, I definitely know that this many torpedoes it takes to take down the shields, or this many torpedoes will destroy the hull. I don't know what that end value is going to be, because there's many other players contributing to the damage on this Idris, so I don't really know. I would need to test it in an isolated environment. And it would be handy to be able to test these things in an isolated environment where you don't have to worry about gaining crime stat or finding someone who owns the ship, so you can say, hey, let me blow up your ship for the next hour while I test out different ideas and see, like, oh, if I make a speed run from this range and I release my torpedoes at that range, will they be pretty much right on top of you and you won't be able to shoot them down? What are the ranges your guns are going to engage me at when they're maybe not distracted by other targets in the area? Like, a lot of valuable practical experience and knowledge is kind of lost, where, this is a great mission, by the way, and I'm not knocking the mission at all, and the rewards are certainly sufficient, but I feel that realistically, having kind of like an isolated testing environment would be a good idea. And I don't think that, given the existing stuff that Star Citizen has in the game right now, that it would be all that difficult to implement. But moving on to the actual Xenothreat missions themselves, such as they are right now, I actually like them. I think that this is a great idea. Glad I thought of it. No, but I think this is a great idea, and this is great fun, and the Stanton system needs more events like this. It needs more stuff like this. I mean, arguably you could say, the rescue, the 890 jump mission is along these lines, but I'm actually very excited to see CIG expand on this. I really, really am. I think that this is great. I think this is a fantastic addition to Star Citizen, and it's not often enough that we get to say things like that. That what a fantastic addition this is to the game. I'm pleased with it. Now, of course, I would like to see some more permanent and long-lived rewards that kind of come out of an event like this, but this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning of it, I'm assuming, and it's going to be something that is going to be expanded upon in later patches. But I'm really happy with it. I genuinely enjoyed it. It's not, earth-shattering new content that just totally, gives us 1,000,001 things to do, but it's great. I really hope that CIG expands on this in the future. I hope that this isn't just an event that's going to go until the next patch, but I hope that this is an event that goes on for a long time, that carries on. I think that this would be great to carry on and expand upon and kind of build out even more. It's like a lot of things that you encounter in Star Citizen, even if it's a little bit rough or if it's a little bit simplistic in the beginning. It's kind of one of the things that attracts a lot of us to Star Citizen, is we can see so much potential. If they could just get this working and just get that working, there's so much potential here. And so it makes me happy to make a video where I can actually sit down and say, this is great. This is not amazing. It's not earth-shattering, but this is great. This is such a step in the right direction, and it's a nice change of pace to have something that you can just jump right into, and you can go out and you can take your big ships and you can blast away. It makes me want to go and pull out some bigger ships and maybe even take the Reclaimer up against the Idris, and see how that works out. Maybe we'll have to see.
Thank you for watching. So if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest in Star Citizen and Squadron 42's development, please follow us on our social media channels. See you soon.